let's go, men. It's time to stand up. A little bit fired up today. It's time for you to check your set and figure out boys are boys, be a man. Stay tuned. All right, guys, welcome back to another podcast. I'm here with my good friend Todd Goodwin. Glad to be back.
He's pretty stoked.
Yes, I am. I'm fired up. I'm fired up today,
buddy.
We are going to talk about conflict in your life, in your marriage, in your job, just day to day. Also in you personally, in emotionally, in your mind, psyche, whatever the prop word is today that is the real buzzword. We're going to talk about it. We're going to address it and maybe bring some light to kind of how Jesus dealt with conflict, because I feel like he did pretty good.
Yeah.
So, my first question, before we get a little too wild,
too deep.
Yeah. Tom, define conflict? What is conflict? Is it just your feelings are hurt?
Well, I think we need to ask some questions. A lot of times people think conflict is, I don't get what I want, so therefore I have a conflict, or someone disagrees with my opinion, therefore I have conflict. Typically, conflict comes because of our own selfishness or because we didn't get what we wanted, they don't think like us, et cetera, et cetera. So it's typically me-based, okay? Not everything. There's some things that just happen, like I'm driving down the road, okay? Somebody cuts me off in traffic. And my next words out of my mouth are, praise the Lord.
Yeah,
Thank God for these people that cut me off. No, they're typically not. Typically, my words are, that stupid idiot.
Yep.
Mainly because why? They cut me off.
Yeah.
Don't they know I have things to do? I have places to go?
Come on.
Let's go home. I come in, I got things I got to do, or I've done a lot today and I'm tired, and my wife's like, hey, can you help me do this? Boom, I just created conflict. Why? Because things weren't working out the way I wanted to.
That's right.
That's not all conflict. There's some conflict that is good conflict. So that's just what it is.
So is conflict more emotional based then?
No, I
you're
wouldn't
frustrated because you're tired, you're wore out, and you're
not necessarily. I wouldn't say that. I would say a lot of conflict is whenever we have disagreements. And say, for instance, I've had conflict in my theology. Me and Elisha, he's actually doing the producing today.
Yeah.
Today, we were talking about some AI stuff, and I was telling him, I said, I have so many conflicts with my theology right now and AI. Now, because of how my world was working and how the world is right now, they're coming up against each other.
Yeah.
And they're slamming against each other. So I'm going back and going, okay, let me look at how this affects my theology and how my theology affects the real world. So, and I mean, that we can really get deep, but that's also in our relationships. So when I say conflict is good or bad?
Well, that's what I was going to ask second. So I like what you said. It's more, I think, a lot of people define, or it seems like a lot of people define conflict as an emotional response to a disagreement or a outcome that they weren't anticipating, which maybe it is uncomfortable or a setback. I feel conflict is a little more what's the word? Personal. It pushes some buttons that normal disagreements don't really push. You know what I'm saying?
Some buttons, some things push your buttons that don't push my buttons,
right?
Or vice versa,
right?
So it all depends on how I view things, how I see things, and my emotional state.
That's right. Well, and so let's go here. Is all conflict a negative? Is it a bad thing? Should we avoid conflict at all costs?
Well, no, absolutely not. And this is what I mean. Is conflict good or bad? I would say it's neither. But I would say conflict is necessary. And you're like, what do you mean necessary?
Yeah, define necessary. Because if it's necessary, then there has to be ergo positives to it.
Yeah. I mean, for instance, you were a coach at one time. Love football, love coaching. And you realize in order for these guys on the field to be at their physical peak, they have to work out.
Yes.
And when you work out, you do what to your muscles?
Oh, you're tearing them. You literally rip the strands to allow more muscle to grow and reconnect them. You're putting your muscles in a conflict.
Exactly. That's my point. That's what I realized years ago. Because I heard somebody talking about that, going, okay, I'm not saying you tear like your marriage apart or anything like that, but you're going to have conflict. And that conflict, yes, it's difficult. Sometimes it does tear at my theology. Yes, sometimes it does tear at my emotional state. Yes, sometimes it does tear at how I think things should be. And that's okay. Because as it pulls, and then I learn my emotional muscles, my mental muscles, my physical muscles actually grow because of conflict.
Well,
they don't shrink.
I would ask this. I would go, or not, how is a sword made? Like real Japanese samurai sword, heralded as the strongest, sharpest, most efficient weapon back in those times, period. There was none other. How did they make that metal?
They had to go through fire.
It was actually broken multiple times and then reforged. I mean, I guarantee you, if you ask that metal, did that feel good? Did that process feel good? Probably.
If metal actually...
Yes, if metal could feel and say,
sentient being.
I would sign up for that. Probably not. Probably not. I probably would not sign up for, and Dad preached about it, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I said it right. Boy, I've been saying it wrong all week.
Yay.
All right? So there was conflict right there when they stood up. When everybody bowed, you had to know in your mind, I ain't bowing to no man. Because God is God, and that is settled in my heart. It's settled in here. That's not a question or a thought. I'm not bowing to a man. However, we're still humans, right? We're still humans. They still have a thought process.
Oh, yeah.
You see the fire going. I imagine there is some self-preservation conflict going
on the inside.
Like, okay, the music's playing. They're bowing. Oh God, I'm standing. They see me. Okay, now what?
Now what? I've got major conflict now.
Yes.
Because I got the king, the emperor, the guy, the potentate. He can do anything he wants and be justified in
You know what caught Monday, I was thinking about it and kind of just mulling over it. And it doesn't say in the Bible that they went kicking and screaming and crying and yelled and begged for mercy or nothing. It just said they gathered them together and threw them in the fire.
I think they already... I know I don't want to super spiritualize Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego because sometimes we do. We make idols out of Old Testament,
right?
But I do believe because of their stance, they had already in their mind and in their heart going, "This could kill us. This could end in us being thrown in the fire," and it did.
So you mean they had a peace that surpassed all understanding?
I think they knew that God was God and they were not, but they were not bowing to anybody else, no matter what it cost them.
And see, it's funny you brought AI into it. I actually read a post on Twitter. I went way in the rabbit hole.
Yeah, you can.
Way. And saw where they created AI bots and agents have created their own website where they talk and communicate and solve problems with each other. Well, from that website, they've created a new website, LLC, formed all of it, called Rent a Human. All right? It's where when they need physical tasks done, they post the task on the message board and a human will pick it up and you get paid. They'll make sure it hits your account and all this other. Boy, you want to talk about conflict kind of. I mean, yes. I could hear Big Al going, I told you, man, Terminator, they're coming. I mean, but I'm telling you, it's crazy because I was like, whoa, why is like there this divide and this tear of
I don't understand.
Yeah,
I don't
this
like
is not
it.
natural, and I
It's
don't like
weird.
this
Yeah.
weird thing happen. And I think one thing the question I want to hammer on, and then I want to hit some things and really kind of go hard at counterculture and what both the secular world and the church has raised today, because I believe it's a church problem too, is one, what's the difference between a great guy and a good man?
A great guy and a good man.
Yep. What's the difference?
Why do you say a great guy and a good man? Why wasn't it just a great man and a good guy?
I mean, okay, we could flip
Okay,
it.
I didn't know. I didn't know if there was something.
That's just how I wrote
Okay,
it. No,
okay.
I mean,
How you wrote
but
it down,
what's
I
the
thought about
difference
it.
in a guy who's like, man, he's a great guy, I enjoy him, he's funny, he's like, and that's a good man. What is, and I didn't tell you I was going to ask your question, this question, because I really wanted a genuine, like, what is the difference? Is there a difference?
Well, yeah, I think it is.
All right.
There's a lot of good men. There are a lot of good men. There's not a lot of great men. And what I mean by that, I'm not talking about the things that they accomplish. There's got some good men that love their wives and love their children.
That's right.
And they do stuff for their community. And and when they die, they'll be, oh, it was a good guy.
Yep.
And that's it. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Great men live beyond themselves.
Whew.
Great men see things like conflict as, okay, it's a problem, but it's not necessarily just a problem to be fixed. It's also a problem to learn from. We've been working on our new building for our church we've been building it for the last 2.5 years. The process started out back in 2006 when I came on 4 years before that. Mm-hmm. But we started the process in 2006, and we've done it, worked forward and forward. And what I've learned is that there's going to be problems. I'm 61 years old. I've had plenty of problems in my life. I've been my own problem at times. I've created my own problems.
True.
But for the most part, when a problem comes, I don't go, oh, geez, I got more problems. I'll go, okay, Lord, if it keeps happening, the same problem, I ask myself, okay, Lord, obviously I'm not learning something here. Or my wife keeps asking me the same question over and over. Obviously, I'm not giving her the answer that she wants or she likes or the right answer. And we talked about that when I talked about love, and I said, I don't love you because of a choice I make. I love you because I can't help myself.
Yeah.
And that went on for years until I said the right answer. When I say right, it was what she saw as real love. Mm-hmm. But my point being is that problems aren't there for us just to always fix. Problems are sometimes there for us to learn from.
See, I think you said it. And I was going to ask the follow-up question of how does conflict play into that very just menial question? Like, what are we talking? But you've already answered it. You've already answered, and
those great men live outside themselves. They also learn from their conflict, not just try to fix it, so that they can become not just good men, but great men.
That's right. And see, good men, good guys, they're like, man, he's a good guy. They're funny, they laugh, but
everybody loves them.
Everybody loves them. They want to please everybody. They want to make sure everybody's happy, everybody's taken care of. And that's not bad.
That's good.
Okay. But here's one thing I know, and we'll just jump in. Conflict's coming.
Oh, yeah.
Conflict is life.
Every day.
Is conflict. Marriage, you want to get married? It's conflict. Here's why. Like these guys, it blows my mind. It blows
I know where you're going.
Dude, it blows my mind. And look, I was dumb. You knew when I was young, as you were my youth pastor, and boy, you want to talk about headstrong, straight into a freaking mountain and kept going.
Yes and yes.
Okay, but that don't work in marriage. That is not a great skill and or attribute in marriage. Okay, and this crap where you like avoid conflict, and they're teaching my kids in school and other kids and all over that anything that resembles a comfort or an understanding that if I stand, there's going to be conflict. That's toxic masculinity.
Or that's something
wrong.
to avoid.
That is wrong. We don't look for, we run from conflict. We don't look for wrong. that right there is why you look in America, the population of men is roughly about 52%. The number of suicides of men in America accounts for about 83%.
Okay, where did you get that stat?
suicides.
Where did you get that stat from? Because for me, documentation of that stat is very important. Because you found it online.
Yeah, something.us.gov.
Okay.
Just the last stats.
The reason I'm asking that because a lot of times people they throw out stats.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, to make your point, but we're throwing out stats because we saw it and we learned from it and going, oh my gosh, this is a conflict that we've got to address. Because people are literally dying because they don't know how to deal with conflict. They figured suicide is the best option.
And it starts with 5 and 6 year old baseball. Freaking let's call it out. Everybody gets a trophy. Everybody's a winner. Everybody this. You don't really lose. Everybody. Look, baby, there are losers. Sometimes you can try your best.
And it might be you.
And you lose.
And you learn from it.
I didn't have a winning season in Pee Wee baseball until my 12-year-old year. My dad was a coach for 3 of those years.
Yeah, I've seen you play, so.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Dad was drafting. Oh, man, he needs some loving, and I'm like, Dad, he ain't very good. We're going to suck. Okay? We're going to suck. But he had a plan. And look, Dad I got frustrated with him one time because there was another man bowing up to him at the baseball field. I'll never forget this. I was like 11, 12. And like the man's like 4 foot nothing. And he's putting his finger in Dad's chest and like this. And Dad is not, he's still young and agile and nimble. He's coaching 3 teams.
He could take him.
Skiing. Freaking right, he could take him. His hands are like anvils. All right, man, I'm sorry. You're right. I apologize. And walks. Boy, I was so angry. Because I knew Dad could kill him. Like embarrass him, right? It was a scene. It was a scene.
It was conflict.
It was conflict. And yet, you're right, man. I'm sorry. I was so angry.
And as a 12-year-old, why were you so angry?
Because the guy was wrong. The guy was wrong.
Okay. Well, let's look at this. And you were looking at it right and wrong. Your dad was looking at it from this perspective. Am I going to bring life to this guy, or I'm going to tell him that he's wrong? So he immediately took the conflict from here to here. Right. Because your dad chose to speak life and not just be right.
See, and right there, okay, is the difference. Speak truth in
love. Not I love to speak the truth.
I'm just keeping it real. But I realized and I remembered that, and then as I was kind of going through this in my thought, we were at Chuck E. Cheese one time, and I don't know if he'll even remember.
Well, he's going way back.
I know. All right. And there was a fight that broke out, and it was real close to us. And it was a bunch of grown men fighting over tokens. That whose kid stole whose tokens and all this. It's asinine. People were thrown over tables. It wasn't a push and shove, like hands, plates.
It's like stuff that we see on TV.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bodies were flying. Okay. Well, in that instant, and Dad grabbed me by the back of my collar because I'm intrigued. I'm like, yeah, what's going on, man?
This is cool.
Grabbed me by the back of my collar and threw me back, and then grabbed everybody and put them behind and kind of stepped a couple of steps closer. And you could see he was trying to figure out, like, is he about to be, because he was bigger than all of them too.
Because he was about to have to protect his family.
And there was a moment where he went into college days where, like, you could see it was palpable. You could see it. You could feel it in his. He didn't say nothing. His complete demeanor changed enough so that at 8 or 9, whatever it was, I can remember it now. And the difference was in those. Why bring up those two situations? Because one was direct contact. The guy was attacking him. what does Jesus turn the other cheek?
Ooh, that's for weak men.
That's
isn't it?
that's what is of the king. You're right, man. You're right. But when it came to his and doing what was necessary to, there was another level that I don't know. I think I've only seen it one or two times in his whole life where it was physically a demeanor change to where he was ready to go the distance and protect what was his. Now, I would dare say maybe about 70% of men, that's high, 65, 70% of men lack that ability now, my age and younger.
Well, yeah.
My
Because
age and younger.
They haven't learned how to, I hate to say this, it just sounds horrible, how to have conflict resolution. What I mean by that is to understand there's certain conflicts, hey, we need to de-escalate this immediately.
That's right.
Years ago, we had somebody that was had a mental problem. And they came to the church, and one of our secretaries had walked outside, was talking to him. Well, she obviously said something he didn't like, and he took his hot coffee and threw it on her. And they immediately come hollered at me, and I took off running. He took off running down the parking lot, and he ran into a store, ran to the back of the store. He ran into their bathroom and shut it and locked it. He knew what he had done. You know, I took off running because I needed to find out what was going on. And I immediately, I'm like, hey, went to the manager, started talking to him, saying, when he comes out, I need to know. Well, he came out, came back over, and he started going crazy. And I immediately shut him down because I knew two things. You cannot talk sense to crazy people.
That's right.
And you can't talk sense to people that are demonic. So, and your dad was standing behind me. And there was something that rose up inside of me because I grew up with this and my mom and dad. And I shut it down because there's an authority that I have and that I had and I have in Jesus' name that I immediately shut it down. And Alan, your dad was behind me. He's like, wow. I said, yeah, you don't try to reason with crazy.
That's right.
And demons. You can't.
That's right.
You got to step into authority, and that's what your dad was in that Chuck E. Cheese. He stepped into his authority as the father of these children, and he's going to protect his family, and he has the authority to do that. And you have so many young men nowadays who have no clue about their authority because the breakdown of the family.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And I did want to say that. I did want to mention that. And sometimes it's not their fault because it's not a mom's fault.
They just don't know.
They don't know. They weren't raised and look, Jordan Peterson said it this way. If you have no capability of violence, there is no morality in staying calm and avoiding. You're not capable of it. That's why he tells young men and I actually wrote this down for my goal personally. And I know Elisha's in here, but my goal personally is I want to be the strongest man at my father's funeral. Why? All right. Because in that moment, as a man, you have I'm so tired about hearing about your feelings and this, and we got to get in touch. Look, we all struggle. We all fight. It is a conflict just being a man. It is a conflict of interest being a man. You want to get married? It's a conflict. Why? You have to die to yourself.
Ooh.
You have to die, and I learned this the hard way. I went through conflict in my marriage where I would go far enough. Yeah, you can have that. Yeah, I'm willing to give that. Yes, I'm willing to do that, whatever. But when it came to mine, my goals, my aspirations, what I'm building, what my family's going to do and not going to do, I was not giving that up.
But here's the thing is, Micah, with that, is that I know your father. I've known you since you were, 13, 12, something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. So I know how you were raised. Mm-hmm. You were raised to be a servant, to give of yourself.
Oh, you hitting all the good words.
Because we all, every one of us, followers of Jesus or not, have a fallen human nature. Mm-hmm. And we're selfish by nature. That's why Jesus says, take up your cross daily. You have to crucify yourself. And that's what he said. That's what a cross represented. Cross did not represent like it does today. Today it represents life. People see the cross, because Jesus died on the cross,
that's right.
We have life.
That's right.
But when Jesus spoke that, when he said that, The Romans were hanging people on crosses for them to die. Nobody ever got off a cross that wasn't dead. And here's the thing about cross and, listen to this, and relationships. You can only crucify your feet in one hand. There's other people in your life that have to help you crucify that other one, to nail the other one up on the cross. Now, with that said, I've got people in my life that will tell me when I'm screwing up.
But will you allow it?
I don't like it, but I know that they love me, and vice versa.
Yeah.
I'm able to pour in, because everything that we're talking about, when I have conflict with me and your dad's, I mean, we're opposites, polar opposites.
Yeah.
And we've had conflict.
Yeah.
But we have conflict within the boundaries of a loving relationship.
That's right.
The context of a loving relationship, that I can disagree. My wife and I disagree. My wife is so not me. When I say this, my wife is she loves to hunt. She loves to be outside. She loves to go four-wheeling. She loves anything to do with outside. She loves it. And I'm like, okay, give me a computer. Give me something that's inside.
That's right.
Give me
Air conditioning.
Air conditioning. I'll be more than happy to play music. And we're completely different. And we have conflict, but it's within the context of a loving relationship. My marriage is never on the line.
Yeah.
Mine and your dad's relationship, never on the line. Why? Because it's within the context of a loving relationship.
And see, that conflict within you and your wife's marriage, and Dad said it best, and when he said it, it so resonated. The problem with a lot of younger marriages, especially with the men, is we so lack the ability to face conflict, and I'll come back to that in a second, but to face conflict, that instead of understanding that conflict breeds togetherness, i.e. Marines, i.e. some of the best bonds you'll ever have, some type of sports team where you went, Remo said it on this podcast, they went through hell together and came out stronger together. They never questioned effort. They never questioned what is your mindset.
Slogan, stronger together.
And
it's the truth.
With that conflict, is your marriage better? Is the trust you've built together stronger than when you first got married and she just made you feel some type of way? Don't elaborate on that.
Yeah, I know. But I know it's not all about the giddies.
Yes.
I feel like it. So what? I feel there's been many times I didn't feel like doing the right thing. I didn't feel like speaking life, but I knew in my spirit and in my soul that was what I needed to do. So I would speak life, not speak what I felt. Because if I spoke what I felt, I'm probably going to create more damage and not good conflict.
That's right. We're not talking about saying your truth and all this crap. That's so, God, that makes me so mad. That's so out of it.
But that is a conflict that you have with the culture.
That's right.
So how are you going to work in that conflict to be able to be a better man because of it?
One, I think you have to understand this. Being a man, a great man, not a good guy, a great man implies, number one, that you understand your sole purpose is voluntary submission. Voluntary submission.
We call that humility.
Yes, and it's Emily checks me, and now it's okay when she does, because I understand to defend myself is selfishness at base roots. It don't matter if you're right and she's wrong. It doesn't matter. To defend yourself means that everything reverts back to, how did you make me feel?
Yeah.
When you said that, it did this to me. When you did, does that benefit her success? Every way I react, and I said this before on this podcast, I don't want to react. I want to respond well. Because reacting always got me in trouble. And she's hammered me with this, and she's also praised me a little bit.
A little bit. She's praised me a lot.
I enjoy the conflict. Man, when I lose
Most men do.
When I lose it, there's a feeling of just rage that it is invigorating. It is intoxicating. It is
You're
so
absolutely correct.
And I've never run from it. I've always kind of headed into it head on. Like, let me add my 3 cents into this, and you're not gonna. But I've learned from Dad, and especially for like, no. But to be a great man, voluntary submission does not mean you're a doormat. Sorry, I'm trying. It doesn't mean you're a freaking doormat. We come to church and, avoid submission, wives submit, love your wife as the church, as Jesus loved the church, and be patient, be kind. No. Jesus said, stand. I wrote these down. I couldn't. Joshua 1:9. Have I not called you? Be men, be strong. 1 Corinthians 16. Watch, stand fast, be strong. All right, and I know there's more. Proverbs 27. Here's what'll get you. You want something? Righteous men walk in his integrity. Integrity, you can only have integrity if you are submitted to the will of Christ, if you are voluntarily submitted to his will, because he ain't going to fight you for it. Now, if you're in conflict, if you're a child of God, he'll do what he did with me. He'll play whack-a-mole. Like, buddy, you think you got it? You got it? You do? Okay. And we're going to play whack-a-mole, and we're going to drag you through the rocks until there's a submission to, okay, God, I'm done. You're right. I ain't got it. All right. But when we do that, here's the promise. His children are blessed after him. Righteous man walks in integrity, and his children are blessed after him. Like,
because you're living beyond yourself.
That's right. Let me just throw this out. And I didn't understand it. Dad so did. You did. And it when you're young, you're just retarded. You don't know. Can we say that? I'm sorry.
You're not retarded.
You are.
You're ignorant.
It's just,
you don't know.
You're ignorant. Like, if you have integrity, conflict is coming. Living in this world is conflict. And if you're not ready to stand for your son, guess what? It's coming. Somebody else is going to train him and raise him how to think. Mm-hmm. Conflict is coming. If you want to raise them to have character, integrity, honor, be a man of value that a woman wants, it's coming.
You have to have conflict.
You have to stand up and say no. If you don't have the backbone.
Or say yes. It all depends on the situation.
If you don't have the backbone in your marriage and in your fatherhood to stand up and say, I know this is bad in the long run.
And not have to apologize for it.
And just say, we're not doing this. Then you have no business being a husband or a father yet.
Well, here's a couple of things.
Because you are scared.
But think of this. How do you get to that place? Somebody's listening, you go, well, I understand what Mike is saying. Yeah, that's true. I agree with all of that. But I've never been taught that. How do I get to that point? How do I get to that place? Because this is what a lot of people are doing. Life's happening to them.
Yes.
But my personality, your dad's personality, a lot of men, but not all men, we're going to step up and do it. We're going to make life happen. We're not going to let life happen to us.
That's right.
I'm going to make life happen.
And that's how I am,
but
right?
A lot of people don't. And they want that, but how do they find that?
So number one, I would say voluntary submission. Define that.
To who?
To Christ.
Okay.
First of all,
so you got to be religious.
This.
Is that what you're saying? Be religious?
No, you have to have a relationship.
Okay.
I don't care your church and your denomination and your non-denomination and what songs you do sing or don't sing. And I know that strikes a chord with you too, because you got
no pun intended.
What production and all this other. Oh, hey, that was good. Okay, it doesn't freaking matter. Do you have a relationship with the Father? Do you have a relationship with Jesus Christ? Okay, because number one, like I lived the last 2 weeks. You're very much know. We had the show in PGA. We had some shenanigans happen to where I drove all night and it was frustrating and I was angry. I was tired. I was stressed. I've got 2 baseball teams. We have a draft tonight that I'm doing. Then I have to go to my daughter's thing. And then we have something. It's not slowing down. And
then for me to walk up and go, hey, I just told you,
I know.
hey, this is how it's going to be for the rest of your life.
Number
It's go,
one,
go, go, go.
And that's what, number one, and I'll say this is just my personal thing. It's crazy because I actually listened to a podcast where a guy said, I have a dark room that stays locked and only I have the key. I was like, well, that's kind of dark. Like,
Is
why?
that
Because
physically?
he said physically,
Okay.
he has a room in his house that's locked and only he has a key, and it's a small room. And he goes in there. Now, this guy's not a Christian, but the principle I like of it, he goes in there when all of a sudden life is happening to him and he doesn't have the control and he feels it going out of whack.
Getting out of control.
He faces what he calls, and this is what's so godly and he doesn't even know it, the inner man that is scared, that is stressed, that is willing to break. Baby, if you got daughters, you got daughters. They would rather you die than step off your white horse. They have a vision of you, a good man, a good father. Your daughters, your wife would rather you die than step off, break down, and break.
Yep.
But men, okay, well, their mental psyche and it's tough. I lived that life where you're in conflict with your own self and your mind won't shut up. Submit to the Father and say, I don't know what I'm doing. Number one. Then number two, sometimes when I'm angry and I'm anxious, I go walk at night and I talk to myself. Me and myself have conversations. I tell myself, I said self, and that is, we used to make fun of my mom. My mom used to wash dishes and talk to herself, and we're like, Mom, who are you talking to?
Jesus and myself.
She's like, shut up and go away because I'm talking about you. How about that?
To the Father.
I talk to myself, okay? And I remind myself, God got us here. His peace he gives us. Chill out.
But see, this is more, and I know we're about to come to a close. We may want to keep doing this, but maybe another episode. But this is one of the things that it's not just self-talk. Because a lot of people do, I got to tell myself and trying to convince yourself.
Yeah,
so I know that's not you.
Yeah, it's not. That's
but what I'm saying, you're saying these things within the context of the loving relationship that you have with your Father, Father God.
That's right.
So you're going and you're saying these things to yourself out loud within that context, knowing my Father hears me, my Father listens. So I'm not just having self-talk going, I am going to grow hair. I am going to grow hair. I am going to. No matter how many times I say it, I'm not probably going to grow any more hair. Why? Because I'm bald. I'm okay with that. So we're not doing that. What we're doing is that we know the Father loves us, and we know we're having conflict in my life. I mean, there's always something that's going to go wrong. So what I've learned over the years is that I immediately, I actually don't go to, I try to stay in His presence at all times.
Right.
So I think we might want to be able to not postpone, but do this on another, kind of finish up, because there's a lot of stuff to this conflict.
And I think, and I agree, because it is eating men alive.
Yeah.
It's necessary. It is necessary for you to have the violence.
Not physical violence, but sometimes the emotional violence, the thought violence, because violence is all about
that's right
conflict.
It's necessary for you to have that capability, but also, like one guy said, you'll never understand the violence I went through to have this much peace.
Yeah.
Okay, so understanding that conflict is growth, and if you're going to be a man, a father, a husband, and have the type of relationship and value that the Father, that God intended you to have, you got to understand that conflict is growth. And it's not fun. I have to remind myself. I reminded myself today. You can be angry.
And sin not. That's what Paul told us to do.
That's right. But I think we'll probably end up doing a second one, because I do want to go through steps of, I think the biggest one that you talked about was understanding that my Father's for me. He's for me. And if you're not a Christian, I don't know how you do life as a dude. I really don't.
I don't either.
I can't. It just, I don't understand it. And if I didn't have like, and mom, like now I understand mom all those mornings growing up, like talking to herself and reminding herself, having all the promises of his peace he gives to you. Well, I mean, we were
Her
crazy.
father said, she was like, hey, Father,
And she
you said.
genuinely believed and had a relationship. So we'll talk more about and maybe go through like, okay, here's some things, conflict resolution in marriage, at work.
What about children?
At children.
Oh, you haven't got there yet because yours are still young. They're all under 10, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got 11 little brothers,
Oh,
and I'll say,
can't wait for teenage.
I know. I can't. You know, one of the ones that we're going to talk about is when something happened that was detrimental and devastating to mom and dad. It ripped us and ripped them.
Oh, yeah.
And I was fearful for physical safety and how he dealt with that and who he ran to. Because, you know, look, death was on the table probably for a short for a short period of time.
At least he thought about it. It was gone. But
so, man, thank
time.
you for tuning in. Tune in to the next one. Sorry for getting wound up, but man, I'm telling you, like, we need Christian men. It's coming to a point where we need big, hairy ones to stand up and say no.
Well,
and that's the way it is. Where are they?
I think we might want to end on that one.
So, love you guys. Listen up, share, like, subscribe, send it to somebody, clip it, make fun of one of us, preferably Todd. You know, that's great.
He said too much.
That's right. We'll talk to you later.